It is interesting to note that Samsung, which makes chips, itself is having trouble securing its own supply. Give us a sense, some perspective on how bad this unprecedented chip shortage is, especially when compared to 1999 when we had a similar issue.
Yes. During the 1999, we all know that, from our statistics, it's a decline in this market. However, in 2020, during the pandemic, besides automotive, I think in the early 2020s, during the pandemic, we can see that there's a strong decline in the automotive sales. However, we can see that because of the pandemic, everywhere being locked down, so there's a need for a lot of networking devices and also a laptop, notebook, and also tablet and so forth. So that surges the demand for a lot of semiconductors. Towards the end of 2020, we can see a very upsurge of demand of automotives. Cars are demanded, and also, as we can see that for the new cars, all those features, ADAS, and also electrification, all those features demanded more semiconductors. That's a major reason why it's causing this very strong shortage at this period.
So the question is, where do we go from here? We know that the focus now falls on Taiwan, with TSMC pretty much producing half of the world's supply, but there is a limit to how much Taiwan can help the likes of the US and Germany, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So actually, recently, we also attended some conferences between Taiwan and the US discussing this supply chain issue. For the semiconductor, I think the major issue is that the lead time is so long and the capital investment is tremendous. Okay, so it takes time to recover or to fulfill this surging needs. But in reality, when we talk about the semiconductor supply chain, it's not only we talk about the IC chip production, so in terms of wafer production. In other words, it's also assembly and also material that involves in the assembly process. Okay, so everything else, coming around the supply chain and coming around all the world. So that's overall impacting this situation. So for the short term, we cannot see a very easy way to resolve this shortage issue. And we certainly in the 2019, we certainly did not expect this kind of we can say responsibility falls into the shoulder of Taiwan, but we will try. Actually, the government and all the companies we know trying very hard. For example, TSMC and ourselves expanding our capacity to fulfill the needs.
Gabriel, how did we arrive at this state of affairs? And it's not all chips where there's a shortage. Where's the worst, and where is there adequate and ample supply?
Okay, as far as I understand. If we look at our current statistics, the logic growth rate for the coming year forecast 11.1%, and the sensor at 10.7%, and also memory at 10.4%. So if you ask my opinion, we will see that because of this very strong demand coming from, for example, automotive and the networking, that will be the most severe shortage area. So we talk about the logic, the sensors, and the memory.
So very, very quickly, Gabriel, we haven't got much time. You say lead times are increasing. That means people will order more, so they'll go from feast to famine. And is that a worry for you?
Exactly. That's a worry, I think, not only for us, but for everybody. And this long lead time, mainly, as I mentioned, coming from the material coming from everywhere. We talk about metals. We talk about epoxy material like a plastic, this oil-based epoxy materials, and also the wafers and all the rare soil, and also a lot of things that composite into the ICs. So this is a really long supply chain in terms of a semiconductor. So that's worrying to many people. I think all the suppliers and also all the buyers in the world now all in panic. And I think everybody is trying their every effort to resolve these kind of issues.